that was all very confusing. Was just who Jumbo were going for. Well, that was just on the limit. I think it was like a crosswind, and
Who's Jumbo?
He just got gapped. I just refuse to believe that this Melissa bike is actually a thing. I just don't believe it exists.
Jumbo are getting so much free publicity this year because everyone's refusing to go for the Melissa bike name.
Yeah, it's this, and you know what? They'll continue to, because I will continue to forget. This Melissa bike were very confusing, but yeah, Wout just got fully gapped, and it was like a crosswind section, and he just got gassed. Like he did that classic Wout out where he's kind of like on the drops, just kind of like bobbing a little bit, and you can tell at that point it's the same bob which he had when he failed to get around Christophe Laporte at the European Championships. That kind of like you can tell when Wout went out on the limit. And I think you're right. It was a very interesting performance. That final stage where he broke away with Healey and they got up to lane blazer, that was really cool. I appreciated the attempt at making the race interesting, and it did force the Soudal Quickstep boys to really kind of focus up, because Landa we saw a lot of. Catania had to go back. Youngles was putting in a massive shift as well for Bora, and I think that overall, that group was not big. It was like less than 20 riders. So fair play to Wout for actually making the race interesting, because like you say, Scott, if he wasn't there, you wouldn't know what was going to go on, because who knows what he says. I'm going to sprint, and then he doesn't, and then I'm not sprinting, and then he does. I mean, he would have got 10 more bonus seconds if he would have sprinted on the first day, but he just decided just to check out.
I also just want to raise a point for my man with 2 passports. We're in a similar boat here. Ben Healey, great week of racing from him. I thought it was really cool to see him do a stage race like this. He also time trialed really well on that Albufeira time trial. We got some really interesting results. I mentioned it in the recap. Isaac Del Toro finishing in 4th place. Definitely a fascinating TT for us at home.
Del Toro didn't actually finish. He abandoned on the final stage, which I'm not quite sure why. And he also did at Delphi. He also was dropped quite early on the climb, which was strange.
Apparently, he had a bad night's sleep, didn't feel well on the final stage, abandoned, but he finished 4th place the day before. So
yeah,
maybe
he was celebrating.
That did make it quite enigmatic, but
champagne's out. It's just like
exactly. He's just a young man, just 20 years of age, not quite used to handling the champagne, but definitely an interesting time trial from him, and also quite a good time trial from Martinez in top 10 there. We've seen Martinez be a little bit underwhelming in the past 2 years in time trials, but I think he really pulled a bank hit.
What, the national Colombian time trial champion?
Yeah, but it's a different setup.
It's not high bar, come on. He's up against like Sergio Guita and Egan Bernal. But yeah, he's good. He's good. I like Danny. I'm a big fan of Danny Martinez, favorite Colombian.
But my point here is that he's on a different setup now. He's on the Specialized setup.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
So he's got different equipment. It's very, very different.
Tell us, Ewan. Tell us about the equipment.
Man,
it's fast.
But he's got the face condom now. So he's got the snood.
But I mean, we might as well. Well, we'll draw on 2 things here. You guys might find more things. But in terms of Remco Evenepoel winning it 3rd time, most wins joint now, are we just going to go where we always go now? Is he the favorite for the Tour de France? Because now, I think, the Tour de France, we will probably say no, Vingegaard, Pogacar. But I mean more as Quick-Step as a whole. Like Patrick was drawing about that. We saw Landa. It seemed like Landa's role here was really shown. Okay, it wasn't Jonas Vingegaard up the road, but still, it was Wout van Aert and Ben Healey. It wasn't exactly Bardiani.
Yeah, that's very true. I think the argument more impressive was on the stage 2 finish. James Knox put in a huge shift. Like I couldn't believe how long he was on the front for, because he like peeled off and then Landa did like okay, and then that was it. So I think that James Knox was insanely good. But like I say, it was good to see Landa kind of how he was going to fit into that role. And yeah, he was actually really good. And I think that if Soudal Quickstep bring a bit of that to the Tour, like it doesn't even have to be like a lot. I think they can just ride the coattails of a lot of other teams, use their work, and then Remco can just try and do his thing. But just a Landa and a Knox-esque performance rider in there as well mixed in with a load of rouleurs to try and just keep him safe on the flat in terms of positioning it to bottom of climbs and stuff, and also navigating the sprint stages. I think that could work quite well.
Yeah, for an Ilan van der Wilde who's in the Middle East right now, that could really change that team. He's really solid. But it was good to see James Knox back to his best. He was really good in 2019, and the COVID season in 2020 went a little bit off the radar in the past 2 years, but he's such a good domestique, quite underrated, I feel, at Soudal Quick-Step. Been pushed down the pecking order a little bit there, but he definitely made a name for himself this week. And I mean, Evenepoel didn't win either the mountain stages, but with that mega TT that he has in his legs, it's so hard to overcome that kind of time gap though. But before we get on, who's not going to win the Tour de France based on his performance is Theo Gegenhardt, who didn't even finish in top 10.
Ouch. Oof. Fellow redheads going against each other. That's not what we'd like to see.
I do remember giving an early season prediction of saying that Teo was going to come top 5, but I don't know what the conversion rate is between Algarve and Tour de France winner. Clearly, Evenepoel's not proving this so far. So you win Algarve as many times as you like, but it's not the Tour. So how many times has Pogacar won Algarve?
Yeah, was it 2019 he won it? Because I think it was his Neo Pro season, so it wasn't his Tour de France season.
He's got it once. Well, we'll have to wait and see. I think, but we won't derail it with Teo.
But like
with Ewan's
Scottish on Scottish, fake Scot on fake Scot. Triggered. For anyone on the podcast, Ewan's giving me a very displeased look. But I mean, yeah, the opposition here Remco was facing. He did say, though, in the interview after stage 5, that he was in the big ring, so he couldn't actually switch down to the small ring, which, I mean, come on, Remco, you should be able to go on the big ring. And that's why he wasn't able to win the sprint against Dani Martinez. But Dani Martinez isn't going to be necessarily probably not who he's going to be facing for a win in terms of the Tour de France stages.
No, Dani Martinez is supporting Primož Roglič, let's not forget. And apparently Sasha Vlasov, who said he's not going to be working for Primož Roglič. Side note, that interview came out this week.
That is...
Oops.
That is a juicy thing. His competition here was good, but it's not it's not your Poggies and Jonas and stuff and Roglič's, neither of which we've seen so far this year. So everyone's just really in their cryo chambers right now, just kind of like sat up on their volcanoes, all kind of planning what's going to go on. It does kind of feel like we are. Usually we've seen some of the kind of Galacticos at this time, like at this time of year. Like, it definitely feels like we're still waiting for the big unveiling. Like, we've had Remco, we've had Wout now, but it still feels like the season is still really to kick off big style. Like, it still feels like we're on a little bit of a simmer and there's still kind of stuff to go, but maybe that'll kick off in the next couple of weeks, hopefully.